I'm taking my medication. I don't feel any better. Why? What I like to say, managing a mental illness is so much more than just taking your medication. It's complex, it's slow, it's gradual, and it's extremely difficult. We live in a society where we want quick fixes. We go to the doctor, give me a pill, I want to feel better right now. Mental illness is not like that at all. It's extremely, extremely difficult to manage, but I manage it. I know you can too. Okay? I like to say there's 6 pillars of mental health. And if you manage all of them, I think that you can manage your disorder a lot better than you're doing right now. All right, the first pillar is medication. Okay? Not everyone needs medication for their mental illness, but a lot of people do. I've accepted that I do need medication, at least right now in my life. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people with bipolar disorder who they start taking their medication, they maybe take it for over a year or two, they feel better, then they think they don't need the medication anymore. That's happened to me, but I stick with it. But those people I'm talking about, sadly, they come off the medication and then they end up having another manic episode most likely, or a depressive episode. So I don't want to see that happen to you. The medication process, I know how challenging it can be. It's like a trial and error process. Sometimes the side effects are absolutely absurd that we have to deal with, but it's the best thing we got going for us right now. Hopefully in the future, there's going to be other treatment methods that are a little less harmful. Hopefully we can find medications a lot quicker than right now than a trial and error process, but it is what it is. This is what we have right now, and we have to work with what we have. The second pillar, therapy. I've gotten so much out of therapy in the past 5 years. But how I use a therapist now is certainly different than how I used it when I was first diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So, therapy, first off, you have to find the right therapist that works for you. And I'm going to do a more in-depth video on this later on, so I'll make this a little brief. But you need to find a therapist that you feel comfortable with. You're going to be telling this person your most deep secrets, so you have to have a connection with your therapist. There's a lot of therapists out there, so think of this kind of like dating. If you don't like a person, if you're not clicking with them, go find another therapist. So let me tell you a story. The first therapist that I was assigned was a man who had his counseling office in the back of a church, a Christian church. Now, I'm someone, I don't identify as a Christian. I have absolutely nothing against people who are. My mother and father are in the Christian community. However, I'm just not really a religious person. So for me, that therapist didn't really work that well. So I moved on and I found a therapist that really worked well for me. And I really encourage you to do the same. Now also, the amount of times that you see a therapist is certainly going to change with time, but consistency is the key. So, first off, I was seeing a therapist about once a week for 6 months when I was initially diagnosed. And then we changed that to every other week. We've changed it to once a month. And now I really only call my therapist for sessions when I really, really need it. But that was a gradual process. The thing I see all the time is people will go see a therapist for like 2 or 3 weeks. They're like, I'm better. And they never talk to that person again. You probably didn't really get anything out of that therapy. Therapy, just like medication, is a slow and gradual process. You have to work it. It takes consistency. It takes hard work. So don't be afraid to try out new therapists, but I really encourage you to stick with it for the long haul. All right, the third pillar is one of my favorites, fitness. Fitness has had so many mental benefits on my life. I can't even begin to tell you. I have severe issues with insomnia. I would spend about 6 months of my life with barely sleeping at all. But as soon as I implemented sort of a regular routine of fitness, I noticed my insomnia really, really dwindled. So I encourage all of you, please get on a regular workout schedule. This is one of the most effective means of antidepressants, I think. Probably even more so than some of the antidepressants that are on the market today. But once again, consistency is the key. You can't go work out for 2 weeks and expect to feel better. You have to kind of do it over time and on a consistent basis. I also think fitness can be a great confidence booster. I was able to lose a significant amount of weight. So physically, it was awesome. But mentally, that weight loss was so much more than the physical benefits. I almost felt like a new person. I was confident. I was more social. I felt okay with myself. And I think that weight loss had a lot to do with my confidence and ability to be open about my mental illness. The fourth pillar of managing your mental health is sleep. You have to get a proper amount of sleep. What I really think is that's about 6 to 8 hours. A little bit less than that, I find that I'm really quick with people. I have anger management issues if I sleep less than 6 hours. However, if I find I sleep more than 8 hours, I'm depressed. I'm lethargic. So really shoot for that optimal 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Now, some of the ways that you can improve your sleep, and I'm going to make a more deep video about this, is you have to get in a sleep routine. That means every night you're going to bed around the same time. I really don't like when people read their cell phones late at night because that stimulates their eyes and it's going to keep them up much later and cause them to have lesser quality of sleep. All right, the fifth pillar of mental health is your social network, and I'm going to kind of split this into two. I really encourage all of you to find a mental health support group. This was the first time in my life I was able to meet people who also managed bipolar disorder, and it was so inspiring. I remember talking to people who had been managing bipolar disorder for the past 25 years of their life, and I was able to learn so many lessons from those people, much more than the psychiatrists and therapists could teach me, because these are people with real life experiences. So, how do I find a mental health support group? Go on NAMI, Mental Health America, DBSA, which is Depression Bipolar Support Alliance. Also, I used meetup.com, and I was able to find Balance Group in Sacramento, and that had such great benefits on my life. Now, some of you might live in a part of the world that there aren't any support groups available. So I really encourage you, start one. It's a lot easier than you think. I think meetup.com is the best way to do this. Now, it does cost a very little bit amount of money. I think to be an organizer on Meetup is, I'm not sure. You'd have to check. I know it's not free. But it can attract so many people. There are so many people in your area that could benefit from this type of group. So if it's not in your area, please start one. Now, the other part of your social network is going to be people outside of that normal mental health community, okay? Because when I talk about a hypomanic state of mind and how I randomly will start cleaning things all throughout my house when I feel extremely anxious, someone without bipolar disorder is probably not going to know what the hell I'm talking about. So I need to kind of have the balance. I need to have a balance of the mental health support network that I have, but also the regular folk, my family and friends out here. And I want you to do activities with these kind of people, because isolation is what I find really triggers a lot of sort of depression for me. If I'm by myself, I have a really hard time managing my emotions. If I'm around my support network, I feel a lot more coddled and a lot better about myself. Also, this is where I really want you to focus your stigma fighting efforts on. Start educating people about your issues going on, what you really need from them, and then how they can help you. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that this is something I'm extremely passionate about. I'm going to make a whole video on tips on how to properly disclose of your mental illness. I know it can be challenging, but I really think it's a much easier way to live, because you can voice what you need from them, what you expect from them, and hopefully it develops into a healthier relationship between the two of you. The last and the sixth pillar of managing your mental illness is you need to find your purpose. I really think every single person on this earth is meant for some version of greatness, but you have to find what that is. Now, for me, I think what I'm going to be great at, I think what I am great at, is mental health advocacy, dealing with mental health, and trying to educate people on how to improve their mental health state of mind. It caused me to change my career and try to pursue medical school. It's forcing me to make these type of videos. But your greatness, your purpose, can be so much more than just your career as well, too. Part of my purpose in life, I feel, is being a better son for my parents, being a better brother for my sister, a better husband to my, fiance to my fiance. I just want to be a better person all around. And that's really my purpose. But you have to find what drives you, what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. The 6 pillars of mental health is so much more than just taking a pill. If you just think you're going to be able to get better by taking a pill, it's not going to cut it, okay? You have to diversify your efforts. Medication, therapy, fitness and exercise, and diet. Sleeping in the optimal range. Remember, 6 to 8 hours. Developing a high-quality social network that's comprised of your family and friends, but also an actual mental health support group. I think that can have so many great effects on your life. And finding your purpose, finding what you want to be great at, what drives you, what you're passionate about. Remember, this isn't necessarily a career question either. I think that's part of it, but also personally, I'm passionate about skiing, I'm passionate about hiking, and those things drive me. What drives you? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Comment below. You can subscribe at one of the buttons. It's going to be somewhere on this page. Visit logannoon.com to find out other services that I offer, like public speaking and mental health recovery coaching. And once again, thank you for watching. You inspire me just by being here and trying to learn about your mental health and improve your state of mind. Thank you.